Where Winds Meet just released last month, and truth be told, I hadn't even heard of it until they reached out and asked if I'd be interested in checking it out. Now, I have literally never done a video like this before, but after seeing some of the promotional material, I knew it was at least worth trying. Why is that, you may ask? Well, I've got a few good reasons. First and foremost, the game is free, but I bet there's microtransactions, I can hear you thinking, and yeah, there are. For cosmetics. You could play the game the exact same way that I did to make this very video the full experience without paying a dime. They've made it clear that they are sticking to a non-pay-to-win principle, ensuring that none of the purchasable items in the game will affect actual gameplay balance. This is incredibly important to me because I've gotten a lot of comments over the years about how people wish that they could play the games I play in my videos, but they either can't afford the technology to play it or they can't afford the game itself. So this time, I get to present to you a game that is completely free and available on multiple platforms, including mobile as of just a few days ago, so go check that out. But best of all, it being free means that I don't have to feel like I'm selling you something. Yes, this video is sponsored. Yes, they paid me to talk about the game, but you don't have to actually spend any money to try what you are seeing here. But that's enough about money. Let's talk about what the game itself offers. Where Winds Meet is a lot of things. Primarily, it is an open world action RPG, but even getting more specific than that is kind of hard because not only is it an OWA RPG, but it can also be an OWA MMORPG. This is one of the things that immediately got me intrigued about this game. I like some old school MMOs, but the inherent social aspects of those games are a bit of a turnoff for me. That's why I really like that Where Winds Meet gives you the options to either play the game with online features or without them. And yes, you can specifically play multiplayer with your friends. It's not like you're just stuck with strangers. But what exactly is it that you would be playing with your friends, or by yourself? Well, a simple place to start is with creating your character. They take the route of full customization, which is really nice because I'm not a big fan of preset faces, but the freedom of customization is so free that you can either make something really cool, or you can make SpongeBob. Or many other horrific creatures. Regardless of what your style is, serious or goofy, you get to pick what you want. If it isn't clear to you by now, Where Winds Meet is a game set in China, 10th century China to be more specific, but the game also obviously features a lot of Chinese fantasy aspects as well. That setting is really neat for a game like this, and it lends itself very well to an open world. That open world is what I would like to touch on next because, dude, the world is insanely large. A common trap that some AAA games tend to fall into these days is creating a huge open world, either to replicate successful past titles because they know that that's what they did, or simply for the sake of saying that there's a huge open world for the marketing of it, but then they actually forget to fill that open world with anything to do. That is not at all what we see in this game. There are 20 distinct regions in Where Winds Meet, but literally thousands of points of interest spread across them. So many, in fact, that even after 10 hours of playing, I was still technically in the first region. And even cooler than having all that area to discover is the fact that you can go pretty much anywhere at any level whenever you want. You can basically just pick a direction, head that way, and you will almost definitely come across something to do. And if there's something you know you want but aren't sure how to get it, the game will help you out. For example, there's a weapon skill I wanted to learn, so I went to the menu, chose the one I wanted, and the game showed me where I could go to learn that skill. I followed the marker, and when I reached the area, I did a little mini game where you study the movements of the skill you're trying to learn, and after succeeding, I unlocked the skill for myself. None of those things I just listed were things that the game made me do. It didn't pop up and say, hey, you need to go here right now and learn this skill. I chose specifically what I was interested in learning about, and the game essentially let me make a little quest for myself. And these sorts of experiences are littered all over the game. Another example of something similar was when pretty early on into the game, I reached this little village area. Inside, there was a training area where you could fight people and practice getting better at the game. Well, while walking around this area, this punk got mad at me for not bowing to him when I walked past or something stupid like that, and so he challenged me to a duel. Truthfully, he bodied me pretty badly at first, but simply by the nature of him being such a cocky son of a bitch, I had a fire lit under me and I continued fighting him until I eventually came out on top. But now I was the cocky Rocky 1, and so when I saw this goofy old guy was available to challenge, I figured I'd see if he could keep up, and oh my god, could he keep up. I'm not gonna lie to you, I spent maybe an hour straight fighting this guy and pretty much just getting mercilessly whooped by him the entire time, which I didn't find the least bit discouraging. I just took it as something to look forward to in the future when I had gotten stronger and learned more. And I guess while we're on the topic of fighting people, we can go over the game's combat system. For the Soulsborne Ekiro Ring fans out there like myself, you will feel right at home in Where Winds Meet, especially if you like the Ekiro part. Straight up, combat is great. I love complaining about things, and I can't think of anything to complain about here. It's fast, it's fluid, it's consistent, and there's a great amount of variety available. There are 7 different types of overall weapons: the sword, the spear, the broadsword, the dual blades, which are my favorite, the rope dart, the fan, and the umbrella. Each weapon, of course, has its own skills, making each one feel special. Then on top of that, there's 24 unique skills called Mystic Arts, which can be used inside and outside of combat. But the best part is this. Yup, through a bear. That ability is actually Tai Chi, one of the 12 available martial arts, yet another set of different skills that the player can use to create their own style of fighting, and I learned it from the bear. But fighting isn't the only thing that Where Winds Meet offers. Outside of the awesome combat, there are plenty of things to do, such as fishing, doing some casual parkour, petting cats, and various different types of quests. There was one quest in particular, or I guess kind of another one of those quests that I made up for myself, where I had to go through this whole stealth mission with vision cones and everything to reach the person that could teach me to use the twin blades. It is experiences like this that makes the game so intriguing, the idea that there's always more to do, more to learn, and more to find. And that is really what Where Winds Meet does best. It feels like around every corner there is something new, and even better, you have complete and utter freedom to find it however and whenever you want. That sense of freedom can be a little overwhelming though, especially for more inexperienced MMO players such as myself. But the game does a great job of countering that with all sorts of quality of life features. Here are some of my personal favorites. A feature that lets you fast forward through cutscenes and dialogue, which is a really nice alternative to just skipping scenes entirely, especially for brain-rotted folks such as myself, as well as a little summary that pops up for some cutscenes that you do skip so that you aren't completely left in the dark if you're impatient. A feature that allows you to assign or mark down quests as soon as you get them, and I know this isn't really a feature, but on PC at least, the game is about 100 gigs. Frankly, for the size and scope of this game, especially when compared to much less ambitious games, 100 gigs isn't nearly as bad as it could be. But I have done nothing but ride this game for the entire video so far, and if I didn't find something to complain about, then you guys might start getting suspicious that some sort of alien has taken over my body or something. After all, I do love complaining. But truthfully, I only really had one gripe throughout my playthrough, and that was the game's use of AI. Not in the art or anything like that, but specifically the use of LLMs. There are some NPCs that you can interact with and actually have back and forth conversations with using these LLMs. The first time I saw it in the game, I was pretty bummed out because AI, while I have certainly used it before on the channel even, and am curious about what it'll be like in the future, it feels like it takes away from real human creativity. But then I realized that the game wasn't forcing me to use it, it was just letting me know that it was available if I wanted to use it. You could go through this entire game and not once have to use this AI feature if you don't want to, and for me at least, that kind of makes up for it. The literal only other thing I could think of that might be seen as remotely negative is how the English voice acting can be kinda goofy at times.
You there. Ready your weapon and prepare for a beating.
I guess this is pretty much just the old anime dubbed versus subbed debate turned into a video game, but of course, if you don't like the English voice acting, you can easily change it. The text language setting and the audio language settings are two different things, so you can keep the text in English so that, you can tell what you're doing, but you can change the audio to Chinese if you'd like. And as should be clear by now, that is kind of the whole vibe of this game. Do what you want, how you want, when you want. Very few games offer this same freedom of choice, especially especially not at this scale, and I'm sure that's why Where Winds Meet has so many people playing it and so many people enjoying it. Take a look at this Steam review score. You see how high that is? Do you know how hard it is to get a positive review for this type of game in this day and age? Most games released these days have horrible reviews at first, but clearly the folks working on this game are dedicated to their craft because they have managed to create a positive player experience right off the bat. So like I said at the start of the video, I am not trying to sell you on anything, but the game is completely free, so if anything I've said so far has piqued your curiosity, then you should give Where Winds Meet a shot. I honestly was surprised by everything that this game has going on, and I'm sure that there's more that I didn't even get to in this video. Also, like I said earlier, the game is available in several different places, such as Steam, Epic Games, PlayStation, and though it is not out at the time of me writing this, the game will have just released on mobile by the time you are hearing this. It has over 5 million pre-registrations for mobile at the moment, and that is actually crazy. If you have any of those platforms and you think that this game might be your style, then there's nothing stopping you from giving it a shot. As we come to a close, I just want to say thank you to Everstone Studios for supporting the channel and for making a game that they actually really seem to care about, a rare sight these days. Sponsors like them help me make videos full time, so thanks again to them. That's it for me though, gang. If you are playing or have played Where Winds Meet, then let me know what your thoughts on the game are. Thank you all for watching. GG's everybody.